Welcome to My History Verified. All right, thank you for joining my virtual genealogy tour exploring genealogy records. I will be finding and researching records and documents within my family tree. You will get a bird's eye view of the dynamics of family relationships. I want you to see how far my tree goes back, see the infamous people within my tree, and get a feel for reviewing records with confidence. Now let's explore my lineage at the Ancestry.com genetic and tree storage online database, where I have been working on my tree since Ancestry.com became an online company. Now, remember that Ancestry provides a tree, hints, and the ability to save documents. Let us go ahead and get started. Okay, now I am going to go ahead and log into the website Ancestry.com, where my family tree, well, actually, one of my family trees are located. The reason why my tree is definitely at Ancestry.com is because Ancestry is where I took my genetic DNA testing at. And so I just thought it would make more sense to go ahead and start a tree there and also be able to see the matches that come up um, attached to my tree. Earlier, I had technical difficulties, and so I don't want to really get too much into that. While it was actually taping, it appeared to be going well, and then all of a sudden, the internet just did something I have never seen it do before in the almost 20 plus years or 30 years that I've hit the internet. All right. So for starters, I am going to start on the home page of the Ancestry website. This is my personal tree. It's not a borrowed tree. It's not a tree I'm working on for someone else. I have the rights to this tree. The first page is where Ancestry actually, I think probably 6 or 7 months now that they've created this particular page where they uh, organized and put everything in categories, I guess for easy access. I don't know if it was a customer request or it was something on the Ancestry um, corporate level that made this decision. I prefer when I log on to Ancestry.com that I see another page that I am so much more used to. But I'm going to go over this page um, briefly because I've already done so on another video. This is one of my mini trees. I have 13,409 people within my tree. I worked very, very hard for my tree, which entailed me being up 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, or sometimes 24 hours in a day, where I'm just constantly reviewing documents, going between different websites, going between different genetic testing websites, searching for names, searching for documents, searching for locations, anything that would give me an indication about any individual that I was looking up at that time. I had a laptop open, several cell phones open. And so I worked between that with sometimes with one eye open, one eye shut, finger on any of the keys between the different devices that I use. I actually enjoy ancestry and genealogy research, and I just it's just something I prefer doing. I really, really do. As you can see, there are 8,079 photos within my tree. I have the ability to go to my tree here, and it looks like here there are a list of the other trees that I'm working on. So that's a little quick shortcut there. Ancestry has organized the different lines, meaning there could only be two lines, maternal and paternal. While I have been working on my tree, whenever I will have a match, that means a person took a DNA test and ancestry matched that person to my ancestors. While reviewing that match, I would either put maternal, paternal, I don't know, whatever I thought about that person, the state, the location, anything that I thought would be something that I would need to remember with a specific person, I would put it in my notes and I will show you where I would do that at. Last updated, that means that these are documents or matches the last updated, recommended. I've never ever clicked on any of those, and I'm going to go ahead and do so now to see what's up there. That's something I did. Recommended, I can go there at another time. Tree spots, tree hotspots. Okay, I'll go that when I get a chance. This particular category has daily picks. That means that Ancestry thought that this information would be interesting for me. This document here, Green Benford, I believe he's like my second or third. No, I think he may be my third great grandfather on my maternal side. And when I click this document, I actually need an international, meaning an upgrade to my account to be able to get it because it is a Canadian document. The prices have since went up. There's a little discount there, but the documents, the upgrades have went up since there has been a new owner to ancestry.com. I'm going to continue to click. I've never seen this newspaper before. I'm going to click it because she is domestic here in the Americas. And but you'll see. Okay, here we go. I'm curious as to what this says. I want to go into there. All right, let me go. Yeah, that's what I thought. A subscription is needed to look at the newspapers as well. I've never seen this document before. I actually have had an international upgrade in the past. Let's see. I can see it here. Nanny Hereford, widow of the late William Hereford of this city, in her home in Yazoo County, Mississippi, on August, when she formerly lived in Huntsville and All right. That I when I'm reading that, I know exactly what I'm reading and who I'm reading it about. Um, she was married to my great grandfather, both Europeans, but she's not my great grandmother. Ironically, or however, her children are blood related to me via the matches. And why? Because we share the same third or fourth great grandfather. All right. Nanny is, I think she is a cousin. No, she is Annie and William's daughter. Okay, so I'm gonna come out of here. I knew that was gonna do that because I didn't have the upgrade for the newspapers. Okay, so to continue on, the next tab, I love documents like this. Do you see this Oklahoma and Indian Territory allotment jacket? And this is definitely the bloodline I will be reviewing, which will be the Berry Hill bloodline, to show you my family relationship within my tree. We'll be going over the documents as well. And Andrew J. Berryhill is a full-blooded Creek. I'm going to let you see how Indian documents look. After the war, Andrew was added to the 5 civilized tribes, and I'm going to show you how involved he and his sons were during the removal of the indigenous tribes from Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina to Oklahoma. The Berry Hills are originally Muskogee Creek, and they did marry into the McIntosh family. They married into the Martin family, and these are original agents who helped with the removal and reported back to Andrew Jackson via that time. So this is how the jackets look. This is the land allotment. These are how the applications look. This is an interview where the Indian Bureau would interview anyone that would be applying for benefits, or actually, I'm going to strike that, who would be applying for enrollment, citizenship enrollment, right? And this is how the questionnaire looks, the answers, the questions answered, and the answers to it. This looks like a fairly easy one because there's a signature directly at the bottom. Usually they are 4 or 5 pages. So it appears that upon just seeing George Berryhill, that the interviewer immediately gave him possibly enrollment. The jacket closes quickly. That was a very easy one. I'm going to click yes on this because oftentimes this will jump off of that homepage category. So I'm going to accept it. Trust me, he is my 14th great grandfather. We will be seeing him in a few minutes. He's actually the first person I will be starting with within my tree. All right, I'm going to continue down. These are more hints. Because I could attach that particular document to Andrew Berryhill, you will see that they have other documents, and I might have to double check the that document and if it is actually his, because I believe that was George, and I'll find out where George Berryhill fits in the tree. Here are more actually photo hints, and this particular page is you know, fairly new. I'll say 5 or 6 months. I'm really not, it's just something I look to see if there are any goodies on, and then I move on. But it's not a page that I really care for, I should say. And someone else would find this like a candy store. So do not get me wrong with that. Uh, let's see. These are censuses, yearbook pictures of your and our relatives, where they go. This one here is an uncle. New DNA matches. This is my favorite spot. I prefer seeing my new DNA matches on the mobile app. Potential ancestors. Didn't mean to do that, but I'm gonna come out of it, back out. What else? Remembrance, potential ancestors in remembrance. This is my third great grandmother, my mother's 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 mother, who was a school teacher. All right, gonna come out of here. It's funny because my mom looks like her and my aunt. Go back down. I only want to stay on this main page briefly. I really don't want to do a lot on here. Um, they've added this as well, a this week in history section, which would probably show what happened on the date that you are currently working on. Like today is November 11th. It appears that something catastrophic happened on November 9th, 1965. And it's just letting you know about some past news that happened when our ancestors were here. Okay, more anniversaries, review stories, my ethnicity, inheritance. I actually did this an hour ago before my computer got messed up. I only was like 15 minutes in, and I actually, when you're revved up to do it the first time, everything is ready, your adrenaline is flowing, you've conditioned your voice to, come across to your viewers. And here I am, an hour later, happen to restart this, and so my voice is going down, kind of drained from having to contact the internet company, and I have fairly good internet speed, rams, everything. So it was a local outage with the internet company, and I'm not really feeling good about it. So up here, you see the tab for you, Ancestry feed, beta. I really don't care about this tab, and I'll tell you why. It is a new tab, of course. Anything with beta is new because it actually says community story. Well, I I would think that they're talking about my DNA matches are the people that are within my community. But if I click on to see if me and this person is a DNA match, we are not. So it, to me, their story is kind of a waste of time. Although this is I think my second or third great grandmother. So what I utilize in other people trees are the pictures, the stories. I look. These are Indians. These are this line right here is Pocahontas's sister's line. My mother's father line. So that's why it's important to go in and out of even pages or sections or tabs you are uninterested in because goodies are within there. This is them applying for the Indian role, rejected as Choctaw. They're not even Choctaw. This person probably married a Choctaw, and it will tell you what degree of blood the person is here. But this is where all the goodies are. So that means I have to come back in here and look some more. This is a Powhatan Cherokee tribe. Once again, YouTube has stopped my video. I can hear myself. Once again, YouTube has stopped my video. I'm looking at my video on another device. And usually I'm seeing it scroll as I scroll. But the information on the other device has actually stopped. All right, so all right, so I'm not really, I had to go back in and look at that, check that out. All right, so moving along. On the right-hand side, this panel here, you are able to search, do a search first and last name. There are actually Ancestry has listed its different social media sites where you can click on, see tips and tricks. You can click on the year of the census, and remember, censuses are recorded every 10 years. Beginning in 1790, I believe, was the first written census where it had to be documented. Other records, birth, marriage, and death records, military, immigration, ancestry card catalog, and Jewish family history collection. Then there are other tools and resources like the shoebox, a place to store your digital pictures, new and updated collections, a message board to communicate between the different groups and or members, DNA matches or not. They don't necessarily have to be a DNA match. There's an ancestry school and services like hiring an expert to help you along the way. You can travel to your ancestry homeland, that's at a cost, order photo books and posters, and purchase subscriptions as a gift and DNA kits as a gift. And the bottom right, you have the ability to, if you're just utilizing your desktop, click on the download the mobile app, and it will take you either to the where you'll have an option to click on whether have an option of clicking on Google Play or the Apple Store. All right, I'm going to go to the top of the tabs here. Let's start at the right because I won't be clicking on anything here. You can upgrade to a different tier level, and the tiers can be basic, and then basic US discovery or documents, world explorer, meaning the documents include the US documents, and international, and then all access monthly or yearly or up to 6 months would include all of Ancestry from the US Discovery and World Explorer, Fold 3, which would be military records, and newspaper publications, and then 4 additional accounts. And I don't know what those 4 additional accounts are, but I have had all of these since the start of Ancestry. There actually was a time, there was a time that I purchased Ancestry, I think in 2003. For years, I didn't even utilize the service because you really didn't have access to the documents. They weren't putting documents on, uh, for you to be able to access. So basically, I was paying them top monthly membership costs or subscription costs when I only just had a membership with no documents. The documents really didn't start getting released until 2010. That's where I was able to get my really, really first document of my maternal grandmother's census when she was 2 years old. I remember sending that document to my mom and relatives, cousins. All right, so here is your leaf, and leaves means that you know it will give you another leaf growing on your branch, and so it's telling you about information about a person on your tree branch, and the branches are literally your great grandparent or your grandparent, and the leaves are their children and descendants. So I'm going to click one on before I get to my deep into my family. And that hint led to my 11th great grandmother. And the hints are here. So they already have this populated and open. And then the document that they sent was a US extracted probate record. And it's coming from Scotland. If I click this on, because I don't have an international account, it's only going to lead to blurred out information, data. Now, this is what you're seeing before the new purchase of Ancestry. So with the new owners, what they've done is now blur out information. After you've given them information, you've purchased information, and you're storing information that they are utilizing. So now, and in the last month, there has been a lot of changes. All right. If I click yes, I don't click. I try not to click maybe or no, and I probably did that like 10 times in the past, let's say 17 years. But that's because I didn't want to toss a document that could give me some type of information, even if I don't know if that information is correct, or even if I know that the information is, something I don't need. I try not to toss. I try to keep everything I have so that it constantly comes up if it may be relative to my search. All right, come back out of here, back and back out. And that would be, let's see over here, notifications. It lets me know, I guess it's a quick place where I would be able to see if there has been any updates to a particular person's documentation, an ancestor's parent may be added, or a mother, or they might say, listen, you're missing some information about the birth. And then perhaps you know, if you're missing the birth certificate, maybe it's a good time to research for the birth certificate because you have those uh, notifications there as a reminder that at one point you were working on this particular person. Hey, you're missing the birth records. We think we found it. And look, when you're looking at this, it says review hints. Select a hint about the birth of June L. McGaw to review and evaluate, who is a cousin of my maternal great grandmother, my mother's father's mother. And it's saying that this is a 1950 US census. Her family is from Tennessee, so I know that that's correct. The last name is correct. And if I click it on, I go into look to see what more do they have. I actually don't just look for that name. We start at the top. You double check the state and the county, and you begin to get familiar with the county and the districts. I like to see if it's an Indian role, if they're going to document anything about the Indians. At one point it was NA and then IND or IN for American Indian. And at one point it used to be NA. So they've done some correcting in the past couple of years. I don't know if they did overtime or what to correct these censuses, scratching out NA and rewriting documents to say Indian or Negro or Black. All right. In the past, let's start from the left of a census. Now, every time there's a family, a beginning of a house, head of household, you will see um, the house or apartment number, the dwelling number, if it is a farm or not. Now, all of the censuses categories will change depending on the year. Do they own any acres? No. Question number, no. And then you'll see the first and last name, middle initial, if it applies to the head of household. The relationship, head, race, gender, age, marital status, married, MAR. First time I seen the MAR, but it looks like it's there. I think this is the updated document. Trust me. I can tell by the handwriting. Um, Birthplace, Kentucky. There's a code here. I don't know what the code is. As you can see, that is totally different in handwriting than here. And you can also, this person's handwriting goes, slants to the left. Whoever wrote this slants to the right. Occupation category. Work, H, O, T, or U. So I take it that WK is work, H is house work, OT is probably other, and U is for unemployed. Did this person do any work at all last week? Not counting work around the house? No. And this is the wife, is blank for the head of household. Was this person looking for work because he was employed? because it says so here because he work, the acronyms WK for work. His boxes are empty, but if we go to his wife, it says no for her. How many hours a week does he work? 40. What is he? An agent. Industry, airlines. You see that little tab that comes up there? I love the censuses that have this because there are some censuses that doesn't give that new digital ability to have the tab there. Airlines, and then we continue across. For some reason, it says for private employer, for government, and on business without pay. Still don't know what those numbers are. All right. I'm going to continue down. Remember, we're looking for my McGaw family. Stephen McGaw is the head of household. Remember that person that of the hint I clicked on. Both the person name was June, but here you see there's a June M and June F. One is a wife and one is a 3-year-old daughter. They are white. Marital status, the father was born and he's a McGaw, which means that he is the one that is in my bloodline. He was born in Tennessee, his wife born in Alabama, and their child was born in Tennessee. He works. He is an advertising manager. Where? Shoe manufacturer. And we could kind of look at the occupants via the census of his neighbors. One person worked at a as a newspaper carrier, airlines agent, a druggist at a drugstore, which is a pharmacist, a salesman at the Jody's Sportswear store. And you must know that salesmen made a lot of money in those days. Advertising did also. There's a president and manager of a department store, a salesman for a heating company, and a heating engineer for a hotel. If you go down here and read the census, it will probably tell you who, if someone was living in a house, moved in there within a year, and it asks where did they come from, what city and state did they come from. If they were not living in a house within a year, someone came from, someone's father's from China. And this is how you read the documents. Of course, the top of the categories begin with indication of what they're asking the person doing the census taking. They ask if there is anyone under the age of 14. Did anyone serve in World War I and II? And if anyone is presently in the military. However, I don't see anything about an Indian. And in those days, remember, the only two, this is a 1950 census. After Walter Plecker's letter, the only races that would be really, really visible and acceptable would be white and black, Indians placed on a reservation, anyone that didn't go to Oklahoma were then deemed black, Negro, or colored. Okay. So I just wanted to point out that in 1950 there would not be any Indians mentioned in a any other state other than Oklahoma or a reservation. Okay, so I'm going to leave out of that census, and that's how it looks when I am reviewing records or documents. This is how my day goes. I enjoy doing this. All right, this is an area to find whose birthdays are coming up. Hurry up and get out of here because I really. All right. So I'm going to go to the upper left hand side. Oh, I keep remember that I was on the right side. Okay, so we went over notifications, we went over the hints and the upgrades. Here is a comment section where people send or your matches, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a blood relative that is sending you messages or who you are communicating with. Oftentimes there are people that will contact you and say, why do you have her with a second husband? I've received actual messages like this. And I get upset about it. Who are you to tell me who I should have in my tree? Well, I know that he only had one wife, and this person is not blood related to me, but he has 5 or 6, 7 other people that are blood related to me as DNA matches, and more that constantly was hitting me since he said whatever he said about my great grandfather, third or fourth, not second, not being married to my great grandmother. I mean, just all out clown. So, of course, I said what I had to say and then blocked him because he was just ridiculous. Within my tree, I have people that are married, have been married 3, 4, 5 times. Men and women, doesn't matter the ethnicity. So it was ludicrous of him to say anything to me about whether that person should be in my tree and if that person was had other wives. Well, the everybody whose tree that you're actually that the person's tree that he probably was managing, they were all related to me, DNA matches. So that was some people just don't use their head, and I don't be playing all that. People contacting me with no mess. But anyway, it happens a lot. You'll be very, very surprised. I've gotten people that have contacted me and wanted me to focus on their dead and to find out who their dead was. And they're in Australia. I have people doing this. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know who your father is. I can help you, determine who it is. And when they don't like what they hear, you can hear the tone and how they retort back. I don't know who your father is. You don't know, I don't know, your parent doesn't know. You have to start with your mother. I don't know. So those things happen. All right. That little question mark there allows you access to a support center. It's just a look like a quick access tab, and then profile here. To the left, home. This is my home screen. In this tab, there are trees. I have more than one tree that I'm working on. You create and manage trees here. There's a learning hub again, more than likely like an academy, and a story scout. I really don't care about the story scout. It's it's just a function where you're able to, I guess, grab a video or a picture, do a verbal recording of who that person is, and it's a story like, I guess like TikTok or Instagram, but it is a ancestry story. This is one tree. I'm going to go to my home here. I'm not going to go in there just yet. Okay, back to the searches. All right, the search tab. It has a collection of records, again, censuses, birth records, immigration records, uh, marriage and death, military, school, churches. You have courts like tax, criminal, land, and wills. Of course, probate falls into that. You have references, dictionaries, and almanacs. I didn't know that was here because I try to have my own personal ones for easy access. It talks about your family trees. So now I'm over here on the right hand side. Stories, periodicals, magazines, newspapers, photos, and maps. And they are different, excuse me, categories. All right. To the left here, you can explore a location, and it looks like they are the 50 states and any other for the USA at least, and different land masses like Guam, I believe is on here. Yep, Guam, Hawaii, the Virgin Islands, and what else? Northern Mariana. Oh, and Puerto Rico. All right, so those are the different how you can search by locations. They actually need to move this probably to the home page because I've never seen this before, and I kept wondering, wanting to search my tree by locations. Now there is a way to go, I think, in the DNA match section, but this is exactly what I'm looking for. But I would prefer that it be in another location. But this is my first time seeing it. Let's do this. Let's click on something. How about Mississippi? All right. So it appears that the records are separated by censuses, births and deaths, immigration, newspapers, pictures, dictionaries. Okay. All right. All right. And here are your different regions or counties. See Rind, R-I-N-D. Rind used to be a county within Mississippi. I don't know if it's still, is it Rind, R-I-N-D, or Rand? Well, it used to be in Jackson, Mississippi, and now Jackson is called Jackson as a city, but I don't know anymore what the county is. For Mississippi, I'm very familiar with Amite, Grenada, Lowndes, now Tishomingo. That's where the Chickasaws were from. All right, so this is how the locations look. I'm gonna go ahead and this is Africa. We only have 5 different countries within Africa. Asia, that's how Asia looks, and the different option links for records. Europe, let's see, that is how it looks. North America, as in Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Bermuda, Canada, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Greenland, Grenada, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, St. Kitts, and USA. Let's see about St. Kitts. There's nothing really here, but it's a start. All right, let's see. Oceania, Australia, Cook Islands, Fiji, New Zealand, Samoa, and Tonga. South America, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay. I say Uruguay. So that is how that tab looks. And that was under the search collections. All right, remember you can do a member search, review a card catalog, and you also can look up public member trees. Private or public. All right, enter the first and last name, the date of birth, location, death location, marriage location. Don't necessarily have to have both fields. You can add a first name or probably a surname, what you believe it to be, or what you know it to be, and any keywords. And there you have it. And then you search. Memories. This is a new tab where you're able to create or add, upload media, audio, records, pictures, whatever you create for your ancestor, whatever stories you want to tell. Albums, it can be separated by albums, meaning your pictures and more documents, but it's not necessarily telling a story there. Preserve, you'll see where you're able to upload a picture or a photo and then edit the photo, cropping. It's not a lot of features within the croppings, within the editing of this tab, but you do definitely have the ability to add color to a picture. And as you can see here, a picture starts off black and white. I personally added color to this picture, I think last week. All right, let me zoom in. As you can really see his jeans color or his pants color or the wear and tear for probably the day within the pictures. But that is an actual descendant of my ancestor. Now, in the gallery are pictures of ancestors and their descendants uploaded by relatives, DNA matches, or myself. So this is fairly new. All right. What will be coming up is my own grandmother, great grandmother, and great grandfather in this picture, and I didn't even know it. All right. And the pictures come up, and I didn't put that picture there. I found that on the internet. All right. I really pay a lot of attention to, guess what? Pictures or documents that have Black people in them, pictures with Indian tribe seals, and pictures of Indians. And remember, they're called Aborigines. All right. I click to see what that information is, who it is, and I add it to my tree. This can go on for days looking at these pictures, so I'm not going to do it. I've already been probably through thousands of them in the last 2 days. All right, so you have the memories. DNA. This tab has a drop down menu of my test results or your test results if you're utilizing it or have not yet. Origins, matches. I'm going to click on matches in a little while. True lines, which is my favorite. Traits. I believe that's giving out too much information for the traits, even though we've already given them our information and our saliva. All right. Compare, meaning you have the ability to compare two different trees and what they've documented about an individual, whether it's your ancestor or a relative or their descendants or whatever the case may be. You have the ability to go into another tree and compare uh, who has also added that person to your tree, and you compare what they've added about them. DNA surveys, I take those often. Activate a test, that means you purchase a test and you can purchase another test for yourself or other people and add that kit to either your tree or start a new tree. Many people who are genealogists, meaning they are selling their services to other people, helping them with their family tree, they will manage more than one tree and other people's tree and don't have any blood relations to them. All right. There are people that hire people out to start the tree, to fill the tree up, and also to store and manage the tree. The last tab, gift a kit. You will be able to quickly go into that tab and purchase a kit or a gift certificate for anyone that you would like to give the genetic testing test to. All right, I'm going to start in my results. I've already did this. Here I am again. All right, this is my favorite page here. This is my favorite page. All right, it used to be the home page. It is no longer the home page. These three sections are my favorite. The origins, the DNA matches, and the true lines, which is in that last DNA tab. The DNA survey is also on this page in the purchasing of the test. The traits, I really don't care for the traits, so I'm not going to go into that. That will probably be at another time. And what they have added is the testing of a pet. This has been up here for, I think, a month now. So anyone interested in testing their pet, I don't know why would anybody be testing their pet? I don't know. But maybe to test the pedigree or how much, if it's a mixed animal or not. I don't know. All right, so DNA matches. I prefer utilizing my mobile device when it comes to the DNA matches. I'm talking about new matches because I see more information at a glance. Like, for instance, I'm on the app on my phone, and then I go into my DNA matches. And then when I start swiping, I'm able to see the list immediately of the DNA matches. I have the ability to click on and accept that match or not, or to see pertinent information that I want to see, like the ethnicity estimate of that person. I have the ability to note immediately maternal or paternal. I have the ability And remember, Ancestry is now doing that. Ancestry and genealogy notation of the lineage. I have the ability to immediately look for that person being an indigenous, how much they have, and I also look for a common ancestor. All right. This um, is my DNA matches. I'm going to go into my origin, which is my ethnicity estimate. Not pleased with it because if you haven't tested Africa, how do you know, or why are you saying that all these people in America are African when you know that the Aborigines of the North and Southeast coast that were traveling between the islands, South America and Central America, and Africa, traveled all around the world, especially after the Israelites were spread it across the four corners of the earth, BC. You haven't tested Africa, so where are you getting these DNA markers from? Where are you getting them from? All right. Now, my original test taken in 2017 stated a small percentage of Native American. That was the terminology that was used in 2017 because there's such a huge uh, discussion going on this on social media within the world for reparations. People are waking up to the who the Israelites are. Those that already knew now have more people added on to help them in this discussion based on research about who their ancestors are. So if you're tracing your ancestors back, and as you will see in my tree, there's absolutely no way you should be telling me that I have 80+% African when I have documents of Amerindian and Euro down to the first and second great grandparent. So it kind of makes no sense. It kind of makes no sense to be telling people that one genome type and phonome, not genome type, but uh, phonome type, straight hair, specific blue eyes, I don't know, are the true Native Americans or Aboriginals. That's ludicrous, but it's being done. So this is my tree, my genetic ethnicity percentages. All right. The Maritime Southeast Asia ethnicity is new. It used to be Philippines for me. So they've removed the Philippines over and over again. 2017, I started as with a percentage of, excuse me, Native American, and then I complained about something, and then it was removed. Then by 2018 or 19, it was added back to Indigenous. Then I complained again, it was removed. The big discussion going on about reparations and land. It has now since been removed totally from Ancestry.com. I noticed that MyHeritage has done the same, but there are other companies that are not doing it. They're not removing the indigenous. Yep, they are not removing or have not removed the indigenous blood. So I know that there's more percentage to it, and I'm going to show you via my medical via my documentations that this is not adding up. All right. So this is how we do our searches. I have a total of 20,902 matches. I think it's more than that. And this is with Ancestry alone. Now, this is new. What also I don't like about Ancestry, because of the new owners, they are now taking away functions that regularly came with, or initially came with, the Ancestry basic, and that were basic, and we helped to build that with the information that we gave them. So if I don't pay my membership, and this happened last month, they will take away this chromosome painter, the ethnicity inheritance, because this, you see this, it says plus. It won't separate my parents anymore, even though it was our idea. And I know I didn't get it from anyone else, meaning I see a match and I will notate if it was a maternal or paternal, if it's a tribe, without parent, black parent, white parent, whatever the case may be. I did that notation on my own. So now they're charging for all of this. Okay. They also have Ancestry AI. I've never used that. I don't want to go and fly my tree up with any AI. All right. Here, the last, where's the test? The previous estimate, the new one was updated July 2023. Whatever. All right. I click that. I'm going to click it again. This is the old one. As you can see, Southern Philippines was that original ethnicity category. Okay. Like I said, 2017, it was Native American, and then it went to Indigenous America, and all of my matches are still Indigenous. So I don't know why they did that to me, but they did. All right, so that is the DNA. Now we are going to get into my tree. I have the ability to change how I view my tree. From left to right would be horizontal, and vertical. Well, this is vertical, up and down. Horizontal is my favorite, from left to right. Okay, this is how my tree looks. It goes and it goes and it goes. These people aren't African. Okay, but I have an 80% African ethnicity estimate. All right. On the left side, you have a gallery to see pictures. Specifically, click that, find someone in my tree. Remember, I last viewed June. So if I forget, telephone call comes through, I have to shut down my computer, something happens, Ancestry will let me know when who I last viewed. All right. Hints. This is how the hints look when you go into that entire category. One of my favorites as well. So you can look at all the hints. I have 34,364 hints that I have not looked at. There are days that I look at hints all day long, especially photos, records. If I want to narrow the search down of viewing documents, I will go into last name or first name, enter last or first name there, either or, and then search. All right. Records. I want to view all records. I don't want to see this name because it's not that many people in there. Let me refresh the page. Anyway, it's auto filling in, and then that's what it's searching for. Okay, photos. If there were any photos that apply to the first name King, all the photos would show up. Stories, remember trees, and you know King is a first name people utilize. Why it's not pulling up anything with someone with a first name King, I don't know. 1950 census has been added. I would be very careful with that census because it took them too long to get this census out. This is around the time that civil rights issues were happening. It's around the time that Plecker asked all census and record keepers and takers to change the information on the censuses. Do not issue any documents with anyone presenting saying that they are white, have a half white parent, or if they were Indian. All right. So the fact that after all these years that 1950 censuses are now being added is because Plecker had a lot to do with these censuses that came out that year. So has been a lot of missing censuses, a lot of information, and I guarantee you these censuses on 1950 will look as if they were neatly written or scratch outs. They know that everybody is aware of them scratching out, at least those that are in the Aborigine community. And so you're going to see a lot of that. I've seen some most recently where a family member uh, I know was Chickasaw, the ethnicity had IN. The IN was scratched out and somehow it was changed to B as in B. Okay. These things are happening. And this is for the now African American race is presenting with a problem because it's erroneous and um, is causing problems intentionally. All right, so this is my tree. This is my tree. It goes deeper than this. I don't think nobody's tree is more powerful than mine based on the people that are in my tree. And I'm telling you this, my tree is bad. Okay, let me check a thing or two. All right. Um, so who I will be working on today is the Berry Hill line. I originally wanted to work from the 14th great grandfather back down to me, but I don't think I'm going to start that way. I'm going to start this here. This is me. This is my parents, my grandparents, and then we have my maternal grandmother's mother, and then her mother, the Maddie. Coder is a surname from marriage. Thomas is a surname from marriage. Posey is a surname from marriage. Russell is her surname from her dad. All right. These neat categories here, you have the ability to tag because this is something they have to work on because there's a list of tags already created and then underneath there are tags that you create. So once you add tags to your tree, it just auto fills in this area with what you've already used. So I think that they should, and even if I click edit, okay, let's see. Okay. Uh, that's the customized DNA tags, and they give you a limit on the custom tags. DNA tags, DNA match, DNA connection, common DNA ancestor. Now, when you're doing research, you have they give you your DNA match, and they say this person matches an ancestor in your tree. Your footwork is to find out because you know that that person is your DNA match. Your job is now to find out who's your DNA connection and who's your common DNA ancestor, which means that that's your great grand something. And the person in between is either their mother, uncle, whatever the case may be, to the DNA match. All right. So those are I utilize those tags when I get a DNA match and I've done the research to determine how we are related. Life experience tags. I think, well, this is something they've created because mine, I have a lot in my custom tags and I don't see them all. There they are. Okay, these are mine. All right. These are all my custom tags. Brick wall, well, actively researching brick wall, complete hypothesis, unverified, verified. This may be their tag, but I'm going to come from out. Life experience tags, enslaved person, free person of color, immigrant, indentured servant, those are mine. Military service, royalty, nobility, slave owner. All right. Notes. Now, when I do my research, I go in to other sites, pulling up tabs and new browser tabs on my phone, laptop, desktop, whatever I'm working on, and I go and I search names. I search last names. I search cities, states, um, everything. Whatever I find from my research, I come back and I will save it. Here, a very important part of my research is my second great grandmother was married to a U.S. Senator by the name of L.L. Posey. And this is according to the 1930 census. She also became a widow at some point. This all took place in Hines, Mississippi, before Jackson was named Hines. I mean, before Jackson was named Jackson, it was originally called Hines. So when I'm looking at research and I'm looking at records and I see Hines come up and I see that, and even in, how Jackson is today, just the thought of them being there at one point. Okay. Hines was a very, very important location back then. And for to see Jackson's, what's going on in it today is disheartening. The fact that they're not putting money into it is disheartening when it was once a vibrant town. All right, comments. Any comments that I add, I will add it down here. And those comments would go to anyone that has saved this person in their tree. It could be another grandchild, another great grandchild, it can be another descendant. Whoever saves a person in their tree If I leave a comment here, they're going to see the comment. Okay. I hardly utilize that. I probably said something 3 times since I've had an account, and I've had one since 2003 and before 2003. I've been on Ancestry.com that long. All right. And that's before taking the genetics test. I didn't take the genetic testing until 2017. All right. Now let's go over my second great grandmother. I have an aunt and cousins that look just like her. I have pictures of myself that look just like her. If you look in the right hand over here, you'll see I have those eyes, eyebrows, the nose, and the lips. I used to wear my hair like that. And I always been drawn to my eyes, looking in the mirror at my eyes. My grandmother had those eyes. She had the jaws. My aunts have her jaws and her head and face. This is my second great grandmother. Her name is Maddie Russell, Miss Maddie Russell. This is a picture when she worked at a Mississippi University, and below here, and I'll show you on another picture, is her mom, who ran the, I think, college at that time. Second generation, Muskogee Creek and Irish. Yet, I'm 80% African. I haven't even gotten to my father's side, who is a McCoy. So something's not right in China. All right. This is my great granny. Let me blow this up. Second great granny. Absolutely beautiful. I've added this picture to my screensaver on my mobile device. All right. Now, I'm going to show you some information to back up Miss Posey, who has since been divorced from him. I'm going to show you information of the Posey marriage. That's funny because I have a uncle who is a retired congressman. Well, what would he be locally? The Senate, the state senator. Oh, is it state senator? I'm talking about in the Mississippi Congress in state. Well, anyway, he's a retired judge, and that's on my paternal side. All right. So go out of here. She is beautiful. She was born in 1889 in Hinds County, Lexington, Holmes, Mississippi. She passed away in 1982. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about, I want to put my family stuff on nothing. Well, they already got all of this. And all of those DNA matches have access to this tree as well. And it only doesn't seem right when a person of color does this, but it's actually being done by other races or larger content creators or larger companies like Ancestry itself. So we have a tendency of rejecting people of color doing this or not finding something right. They already have our blood. They already have, all the DNA say that DNA doesn't do anything. It doesn't lead you. It does lead you. But because of our history with those who take our DNA or treat us medically, people are hesitant about um, giving the information and or giving any body fluids when they already have it. It's what they do with it. And people are skeptical of that. All right, for good reasons. All right, so I notated this. I said that she was on the 1880 census. She's also on the census as being white. And then she attempted to apply for the Dawes Choctaw. And who she applied with is not a freedman, but the Roaches are Pocahontas's sister's children. Even though he's Powhatan Cherokee, Rufus Roach, Powhatan Cherokee, Shawnee, and many others, he ended up applying for Choctaw, trying to get in that way. And why? Because the 5 civilized tribes are now at this point being legalized. You have the Dawes rolls created at this point to stop those of a certain color and skin color from getting documentation as an Aboriginal and or as a mixed person. You have Walter Plecker's letters. At this point. So when you're seeing people applying for the 5 civilized tribes and being rejected, all of the rules and the policies requesting the document givers to do so have been put into effect. So he actually should not have been applying for Choctaw. They tried to wipe out the Shawnee and the Pamunkey and the Powhatan. Those tribes in the government's eyes didn't exist anymore because they wiped them out with the stroke of a pen. Okay, so this stuff happened, and I'll take my rightful place in it, sharing it. All right, so we have our life stories. Those are cute, but whatever. Okay, all it is the information that you're inputting is put into place, and it gives a little story here. She's Muskogee Creek. Now, remember I told you that I have information to be able to link my great grandmother and the Senator L.L. Posey. I'm going to zoom in on the document, which is a newspaper clipping from, excuse me, the Clarion Ledger, dated May 30th, 1926, and I will begin reading. As you can see, I found it, added it, and 2 people saw it and saved it. All right. It says I don't know what this, Russell, underneath there it says Russell 1L Posey announcement. Mrs. Bessie Russell announces the engagement and approaching marriage of her daughter, Maddie, to Senator L.L. Posey of Jackson, the rights to the solemn in Calvary Baptist Church, Sunday, June 20th. The above item is of general interest to a wide circle of friends both in Jackson and throughout Mississippi. Ms. Russell is a graduate of Blue Mountain College and was a member of the Jackson School faculty for several years and is both accomplished and lovely. Senator Posey represented Claiborne and Jefferson counties on the legislature during the sessions of 1920 and 1926 and has many friends who are congratulating him upon this best of fortune in winning this splendid girl as his life's companion. Senator and Mrs. Posey will be at home in their handsome residence on Robinson Street, where Mrs. Russell, the charming mother of the bride, will be one of the happy family circle. And I believe this particular article had more to it. But there's your marriage of my second great grandmother, which was my mother's grandmother, having married the late Senator Posey. Now, they didn't stay together, but he married her. All right? How to prove your tree and your findings in your tree. You do so with your documents, whether you find them on your own or you have hints at Ancestry or you're rocking out at the archives of each state, local municipalities, other websites, and Ancestry owns FamilySearch and newspapers and Fold and a lot of other ones. All right. This is how you validate your information. You do so by finding the documents, censuses each year, the death certificates, Army records that I have, and that newspaper article about my granny having married the senator, attempts at enrollment, and this may be just the enrollment packets within the family. Now, here is a genealogy. I think it was a PDF that was up. It was a very good PDF. It was over 200 pages. After a while, when certain races who are um, identifying as a specific ethnicity, and they find out that they're related to people who have been deemed people of color, what they will do is what I'm seeing. It appears that they cut off information. They will stop sharing their information. They will break the links on their information and give out new ones. And then if anybody is attached to their email um, network, then they will reissue links to where they can find these documents. It's again, it doesn't make sense. We're all related. So I'm going to continue now. Before I go into anything else, I'm going to go back up here. I have the ability at this link here to view it in a tree, view my notes, view comments without going, just searching around for it. I had the ability to add these links up here as well. Merge with duplicate. Sometimes there may be duplicate entries of a particular person in my tree. If it is so, Ancestry will already have it ready for you right here. And then you just click it and merge. There are times that you have to go in and type in the names, find it, it'll populate, and then you will merge the duplicate. All right. Back out. Save to tree, print this page. Let's see how it will look if I print it. That's how it will look. All right. Customize it. Her parents are already there. Okay. So you customize it, and you can publish it to My Canvas, which is something that Ancestry owns, where you would be able to create a book. Okay. Next set of tabs, life story. We went into that. Your facts. Your facts is that who your biological, their biological, your ancestor who's at the top, their biological parents. There's actually also a place where the biological father is. I mean, yeah, if there are any other parents, siblings, these people are facts in my tree right here. These are real. These are people that I've already completed research on, and I am related to their descendants who have all taken tests. If I go to family tree DNA, they're going to be there. If I go to MyHeritage, all these people are going to be there as DNA matches. I have over 20,000 DNA Berry Hill familial matches in MyHeritage. All right, so I'm going to click that back up, the siblings, and these are her different spouses and who she had children with. Okay. Posey had a son. I am not for certain if that is her son or not, with Senator Posey. But if I look at the dates of 1908, she had a child named Paralee. So this can't be her child with him. He did get married after that. They divorced and he got married to someone else. So I was able to confirm that this child is not hers. L. Posey and my second great grandmother did not make this child. All right. These are my grandmother's. Uh, stop. These are my grandmother's mother's children. No, let me redo that again. These are my second great grandmother's children. Yeah, that's because I keep seeing my great grandmother up there. All right. I am related to all their descendants who have taken the test. That's how you confirm your DNA. That's how you confirm it. But you have to go through all the censuses to see if a person is on the census records, and you follow that all the way down your line and back. When doing this, you'll be able to tell if someone has gotten married, if they probably moved out of their area. Why aren't they on the census? You'll notice that there is no dad and the female is head of household. And oftentimes it could be the person is at war, passed away. The person became, you have to look for the column of marital status, which could be or married or widow, I think are the two options, because I've never seen any divorce. All right. And any documentation of it. Now let's go into the censuses. 1900. She was born in 1889. I'm going to view this. She is classified as white at the age of 10. Okay. She was born in Mississippi in Hinds County. I don't know why I kept saying Wines. Ooh-wee. Hinds, Hinds, not Rands or Rinds. Hinds. Dang, girl, what's wrong with you? All right. Hinds. At 10 years old, she's documented on the census as white. Anytime you deal with someone who is darker than you, and they didn't even understand that she was an Indian and Irish. Okay. She's white here. There she is down there at the age of 10. Her grandmother is Nancy Webb. She's 68. Her mother is Bessie Russell, 38. Hendry, I believe, is a brother. Montrose Lowe is a brother. Bessie Lowe, my mother's name is Bessie, is 11. And Maddie, my second great grandmother, there she is, 10. This is how you confirm records. So second great grandmother is white and Indian, but somehow they got me on the documents as being 80% African. Don't get me started on showing my dad's side. Impossible. All right. There's my verification. My history verified. This is Lenora. All right. First document, 1900 census. Here's the census again, 1900. 1910. Remember that 1940 Pleckers list, right? Remember, we're going to move closer and closer to it. After that, 1940, what is it, 43, 49, Plecker letter went out telling the record keepers to change the documents. She has two white parents, but she's Indian. Okay. Now, look at here. Look at here. She's 21 now, 1910. She marries an Indian. By this time, she's married to him, Rufus Roach. The correct spelling for it is Roche. He is the descendant of Pocahontas' sister. She's deemed black now. Now, they do overtime at that census place to change 1910 records to black. Because at that time, black wasn't even used. I think it was colored. She's now black. Right? She's still in Holmes County. Well, Holmes County is north of Hinds. You're going to nearby Granada, Holmes, Greenville, Leland. You're heading up that way, Pickens. She's now black. Two white parents, she's now deemed black. Not because she looked black, show it to you again. Not because she looked black. What do you think happened that make her black now? All right, let me come from out of here before I get mad about something. 1910, 1920, let's hit that census. She's still in black. And pay attention to, I actually should have went and showed you how that census looked on it. I'm going to go back in. All right, so look at this record because this is just the record. This is not the census. The census is up here. So you have the ability to look at this and then also go ahead and view in the census. Looking at it, she's now 37. And then she's in Holmes County. The street she lives on is Blissdale Plantation. And remember, there's a plantation called Blissdale. And I have a picture of my mother's father's mother, who is the descendant of a Noel. And Noel was governor of Mississippi. Blissdale Plantation. She didn't work, or she wasn't a slave, but she ended up working on that plantation. Related to the Noel's children, descendants. All right. So 1920, those type of things you have to pay attention to and read so that you be able to validate a lot of different things. Here is her children. You'll see Letha, which is my great grandmother, my mother's mother's mother. And then there's some of the children. This is not all of them. All right. Let's go into the record. Usually they have it highlighted. You see the Holmes County up here to the left, 1920. Gonna go in, blow it up. Now, this is how you can tell that a document has been changed. This was IN right here. This has been changed to mulatto. It was originally IN. This was IN. It's now mulatto. MU. Okay. W for white. This Benford is my mother's father's side. That's how you begin to validate when you're not for certain about stuff, the connections of these surnames and the bloodline. Okay. Lucy is put on here as black in 1920 when the Benford line is white and mulatto. I'll get into the Benford line a little bit later. W.C. Benford actually left Alabama, brought his black children with him, and he set up in Chula, Mississippi. All right, I'll get into that later as well. So we're going to search. There is Rufus Roach there, put on here as black. Born in Mississippi. He's a farmer. She is a farm laborer. Let's see if anybody owned any of the land. Usually says it. It doesn't have it on here whether they owned the land or not. A lot of mischievous stuff was happening when it came to the documenting of that southern land. All right. That's how it looks when you're verifying censuses. That was 1920. Let's go into 1930. She's still, by this time, she is widowed. All right. She is 40 years old. She's in Holmes County. She's not in Jackson anymore. This is a school teacher. All right. Let's go into here. Sadie. She has a daughter named Sadie. I knew about Sadie all since I was that's like 5 or 6 years old. There are a lot of stories about Sadie. Now, when I talk to a cousin from Mississippi, she is able to tell me stories about everybody that was in Mississippi and the stories about Sadie. I actually have heard stories from my grandmother about what went on, the different practices. And those practices are very similar to those of the Aborigines. A lot of the ceremonies, a lot of the things that they've done. Sadie practiced those. She's been to Mississippi. She's been to, I'll try that. She's been to Mexico, and there's Mexican blood within me, my 25-year-old who has been tested. It's also been listed on her mother's, Maddie Roach's, obituary. So I've been doing this a very long time. This is a 1930 census. She's widowed at this time. She got married when she was 18 years old. None of her other children are married. At the time, Sadie, who I just got through talking about, is 8 years old. Everybody was born in Mississippi. '40s. You can see a change in where she is living. That says Tallahatchie. Tallahatchie, Mississippi is near Sunflower, where Emmett Till lost his life. Appears only person in the house at this time is Robert Roach. He is 16. Let's view the record. And I will get you on to my latter ancestor. She's still widowed. You see where the scratch out of Holmes County versus Hinds County. See that there? She's now in 1940 being referred to as a Negro, even though you know she looks nothing like a Negro. In fact, her father's white. All right, let's see what's going on down here. Pretty much nothing. All right. Now, go into an Indiana death certificate. This death certificate is actually in reference to her child. This is how you're still able to validate the family relationships of your ancestors or family members. All right. They state that Maddie Russell is on the document. Her maiden name is Russell. Her gender is female. Spouse is Frank Coder. That's where that Coder last name came from. And when we go back into the family facts, we will be able to see which child um, has the last name Coder. And her child is Robert Roach. I'm going to go ahead and click the document on. All right. So Robert Roach passed away in Gary, Indiana. I know where this hospital was at. All right. And that's not even part of Gary anymore. In the date of death 2006, that's not even Gary. Oh, yes, that is Methodist Hospital. That's right. Okay, that's by Grant Street. I am so sorry. I used to live a block away from there. I forgot the name. All right, so that is Gary. All right, this is most recent. And what he added, that's because he used to live at the steel mill. I mean, work at the steel mill, which was very prominent in those days for such a beautiful town. If you look at it, even though it's dilapidated, there's a reason for it going down. It has nothing to do with the person. Black people can't take care of property. Banks own a lot of those homes, and they have no intentions on building or rebuilding because the town was originally for it. Actually, originally, let's get down to it. It originally was Potawatomi tribal land. It was Indian land. They took the land from the Indians and build. They actually began to sell the land to doctors and lawyers, prominent people in the Chicago who got drawn to the Chicagoland area after the wars. After they took the land, they sold the land, they built the steel mills. So between the steel mills, there were between the two states of Illinois and Indiana, there were steel mills. That is where a lot of people left the South, and a lot of the Indians as well that did not leave. Just because a person is walking around, don't think that they're not Indians, because the Indians are brown skin. They're not that shade that you're taking them to be, even though brown people come in all colors. You're looking for straight hair Indians, you're not going to find too many of those. You might find Native Americans, but this is what happened to the land. So when they took that land over, the doctors and the lawyers fled there because more blacks start coming to Gary for a better way of living, and they crashed the town. They made the town flop. They pulled their money from the town. After they made all the money in the steel mills, they crashed it. All right. So let's go with the verification. Who's your father? Frank Coder. Who's your mother? Maddie Russell. The person that gave the information there. Death certificate. Right. That is how you confirm. Let's see what this document is. U.S. Directory. Robert Roach. I believe that's what's going to show up. And it's over here. It's saying at one time, Maddie and Rufus moved to North Carolina. I just do a lot more checking on that one. All right, so we got some military records. And view them. Not what I'm looking for, but give me a second. Draft records of Robert Roach. I believe this is her son. He was drafted in, he was born in 1925, drafted when he was 18. And he lists his mother as Mattie Roach, Holmes County. You verify the dates. You verify the age of a person in your tree, and that is how you confirm. More Army records. Let's see. All right. Rufus Roach is listed. Here's his ID number listed as a private. His mother is Roach. Declassified document as well. All right. Remember this. Okay, let's go back. Let's read what this says. It says Miss Mattie Russell, female, about 1826. She lived on Robinson Street. Her employer is Jackson School faculty. The school that she worked at was the Blue Mountain College. She got married in 1926. Bessie Russell is her mother, and she married the then senator of Jackson, Mississippi, or Rhines County. No, not Rhines, Hines, Hines County, L.L. Posey. We're going to go in and view that record again. That's that news article. There's 1, 2. Are these the same? Let's see what this one says. Can't see it. Oh, that says many Phelps. All right. Now let me show you what the rest of this article says. If it's applying to them, let me see. Nope, too much to read. But you have to go in and out of all these documents. I haven't even gotten to my 14 great grandfather yet. That's where the Muskogee Creek blood is coming from. All right, what else? Yearbooks. Let's go into the yearbooks. Yearbooks is a very good source for finding out what year a person was in school, occupation, some indication to what the occupation will be, their age, what year were they in school. Now, if the school has them listed in, let's say, freshman year, that will place that person at the age of what, 12, 13 years old. All right, then you verify it with their birth date and the census to see if that is actually your ancestor. Now, this college was located in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That's north of Chula and Jackson. All right, let's view the image. A person above her, I don't know who that is, but as you can see, this is my second great grandmother and her mother. My mother's named after Bessie. Maddie is my grandmother's sister's name. My grandmother has her grandfather's name, Nell, even though the grandfather had Nel as his first name. But here are my ancestors, second and third generation. Please tell me how I got 80% African. Please tell me. I really like to know. I hope you guys can hear me because when I'm testing myself, I'm able to hear. When I'm taping, they're removing my sound. So I hope that this is taping without them removing my sound. I really do. All right. So here we have my second great grandmother. Let's read what the yearbook says. It says Miss Maddie Russell is also a graduate of Blue Mountain College in addition to having taken a good deal of summer work. She has charge of the intermediate department. Miss Russell is a hard worker herself and manages to get a great deal of work out of her pupils. Ooh, she pretty. I got a lot of cousins that look like her. Me and my cousins look like her. All right. Her mother, that head is on a lot of my people in my family. Cousins, aunts, my mother has the same big old head. All right. Mrs. Bessie Russell. Mrs. Bessie Russell is matron of the industrial home. Mrs. Russell came with years of experience at the Baptist orphanage, and her careful management and knowledge of the culinary arts have been of great benefit to the industrial girls financially and every other way. She has made the industrial home famous. All right. Now, I know that there are other Berry Hills, because these are Berry Hill descendants, that are not brown skinned. Okay. A lot of them did not take on their Indian roles, but a lot did. You'll be surprised. All right. Continue with some more documents. Just trying to get you to see the one with her and my great grandfather. Let's see this one. Now, this document probably will not come up, but this is when her name was Maddie Posey, which is the same surname that she shared after marriage with L.L. Posey, right? Proof of their marriage. Let's see what else. These newspaper clippings are dated February 17, 1928. Let's see what this one is talking about. Another announcement. Okay. Um, let's go into these links. Take me to the Dawes Rolls. There she is applying for Choctaw, even though she was not Choctaw. She would have been better off applying via Berry Hill. Okay? Telling you that. I'm telling you that right now. This was a very, very good recording of ancestors. They removed the information, and when they find out that darker skinned relatives are saving this information, they remove it. All right. I know that's what's going on. All right. So this is her attempts at applying for enrollment as a that's not hers. I don't know where is it. Let's go back 2 or 3. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Silas Webb. Now, with the Berryhill family, you'll see that the Webb family is intertwined with my ancestors. They married in. You will see a great third great grandfather who is a Webb. My third great grandfather married my third great grandmother's cousin. Um, and you will see how that family this is not actually this is not it. All right. In 1902, we're not talking about somebody being a slave in 1865. We're talking about the Indian Wars that took place from the time that they landed in on Plymouth, began fighting with the Pequot tribe, the Yamasee tribe, the Oneida, the Cherokee, the Muskogee Creek. All of this stuff is happening before this list of going to apply to someone for land that they've taken or recognition or classification to be enrolled in their tribes. At this point, by 1902, you see that this says commission to the 5 civilized tribes. In between that, or before that, you have the wars, the Indian Wars, and then you have the treaties. In those Indian Wars, when there was resistance, they get retaliated for it. Women and children, females were taken. The males of that family were possibly unalived. Can we get into if they took the land, they had no intention on giving it right back to you. This is what's going on. This is what has happened. Everything is about the land. All right, so this is the original letter from the Department of the Interior Commission to the 5 civilized tribes. Any tribe that said, okay, I give up, you're right, I'm gonna do it your way, I can't beat you, I'm gonna join you, thus the 5 civilized tribes. Now, doesn't mean that everybody that is in Oklahoma is an Indian. A lot of Mongolians came and they made it with the 5 civilized tribes and became the 5 civilized tribes. Or children of the agents that participated in the removal of the Indians from each state, all of those North and Southeast coast states, they also had children by European women. Those children became members of the tribes and assumed the identity of the Aborigines. Okay, so those that you have a lot of the Indians that were in that did go to Oklahoma. A lot of them were killed in the bombings or taken unalived in those massacres, or the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, or along the way. Okay, I'll continue. South McAllister Indian Territory, December 24th, 1902. All right, so you can see my document. All right, this is what I'm reading from. All right, it says in the matter of the application of Sylvia Webb for enrollment as a Choctaw freedman. We're talking about 1902 when they've already determined can't nobody comes talking about they're Indian because we've taken your land and you do things our way. Just because they put freed, Freedman, behind someone's name or Freeman doesn't mean that they're African. Doesn't mean that they were a slave. And anybody had the ability to name you whatever they wanted to name you. No one's playing nice at this point. All right. So, in the matter of the application of Sylvia Webb for enrollment as a Choctaw freedman, Scott Jones, being first duly sworn, testified as follow. Examination by the commission. What is your name? A. Scott Jones. How old are you? A. 43. Oh, answer 43. What is your post office address? South McAllister. Do you know Sylvia Webb? Yes, sir. How long have you known her? Since 1893. What is the name of her father? He didn't say. What is the name of her mother? Rhoda Harnage. Was she a slave of a Choctaw Indian that you know of? I don't know. Do you know that Sylvia Webb is a daughter of Rhoda? And it goes on and on. All right. If we continue, we're going to look at to see how these letters went about. Then it's signed and notarized by their government agencies. They're issued an application number. If the grandparent has a card or not, they will list that card number, or any of their ancestors or at that time of application living relatives, they will list that card number, and then they will be given. And a lot of Indians were slaves. They became prisoners of within their own country. Okay, please do not think that they are being called African slaves. So the commission signs it. I am trying to actually get at the letter that they sent. All right, so when they make a determination, this is how it looks. The case number will be there. The land that they're going to, in this case, Muskogee Indian Territory, June 7, 1905, Sylvia Webb. The Webbs are indeed Muskogee Creek, and they are Choctaw Indians. They are Indians, even the light-skinned ones. Okay? Dear Madam, enclosed herein you will find a copy of the decision of the Commission to the 5 Civilized Tribes rendered June 7, 1905, granting the application for your enrollment of yourself and children, Vinnie McKinney, Chester Webb, and Edith Butler, as Choctaw freedmen. The attorneys for the Choctaw and Chickasaw nations have been furnished a copy of said decision and have been allowed 15 days from the date of this notice within which to file protest against the action of the commission in enrolling you and your children as Choctaw freemen. If at the expiration of that time no protest has been filed, your names will be placed upon the final rolls of Choctaw freedmen to be submitted to the Secretary of the Interior of his application. Respectfully, signed, IB or JB Needles, Commissioner in Charge, registered, including that. In addition to it, another letter went out. You are hereby notified that the Commission to the Five Civilized Tribes on June 7th rendered its decision granting the application of the enrollment of Sylvia Webb, Vinnie McKinney, Chester Webb, and Edith Butler as Choctaw freemen. The attorneys for Choctaw and Chickasaw have been notified. Let's see what the next letter is. Actually, it's probably 3 letters going out to all 3 of the children as well. Now, this is how the letters look. They are handwritten. A lot of these documents are forged and changed. They put the jacket on it, which is the file folder. They close it up. All right? That's another person enrolling all these people as freedmen. But okay. All right, so that's how that looks when we go in there. I am going to continue the Berry Hill tree. So I need to go back into the tree so you can see what's going on. I'm going to view this in the tree just so I can get back into the tree. And here, let me go to the beginning, placing me at the start, which is my grandmother. And this is how my grandmother looked. Let's show you. She looks exactly like Maddie Russell. Only thing is she's brown skinned. She had the beautifulest skin. I woke up with my grandma, smiled in her face, looked at her every day. She has the same eyes, the same eyebrows, same cheek, nose, and lips. Her father is the Roach, who is the descendant of Pocahontas's sister. Ironic that someone saved this. They found this to be just as important. I don't know who this is, but I'm going to go and look. And they are in New Orleans. Maybe they knew my grandmother. This is my grandmother. And her children, some were yellow boned, and some had her complexion, beautiful, clear skin. Love her and miss her. All right, going to go out. Go back into the tree. Hopefully this is still taping. Every time I tape it, the audio goes. All right, so that is her. This is her mother here. Now, the census that I found, and here we go, go ahead and hit Letha. This is her mother's census when she was 10 years old. I don't like the fact that these censuses are neatly written again, where a lot of information has been changed. (1920). 1930. William Benford is, now I guarantee you, you're going to see, let's see some names here. By this time, either you're going to be white or you're going to be Negro. There is no more mulatto for 1930. People may remember that mulatto was used, but for the most part, census record keeping, mulatto was dropped. So here is my grandmother's mother. I went to her funeral, I think 94, 95. So I'm just trying to bring you forward, not forward, but take you back to the past. Okay, I need to go through some censuses. So we were in 1930, 1940. My grandmother, I personally know that she was born in 1938. The censuses come out every 10 years, which means that she wasn't on a census until 1940. Here, my grandmother is with her name being written or transcribed as Mill. That's not her name. These are all her sisters and brothers, but this is not her name. I didn't know SEB was older than her, but I guess, okay. SEB is still. All right, so this is a Mississippi census for Holmes County. Taken on the 12th. Hearn. I pay attention to the races. Races of color, white or black. This is what they came up with. White. So they live next door to white people. No. All right. So this is my great grandmother. And here it is my grandmother who was 2 years old. One of the very first censuses that I found on my own people. Found it in 2010 when the Church of Latter-day Saints began to release the documents in a flood, because everybody else had access to them. I guess who were able to pay the thousands upon thousands of dollars. I don't know what made them release the records, but they began doing so in 2010. I found this census with my grandmother on it at the age of 2. I then forwarded that document immediately to all of my relatives that I had email or text ability to text. Her name is actually Nell. All right. This is how a census looks. This is how you verify your documents. I'm still in there. That's 1940. She got married as well. Let me show you. I think this is a census for her son. It is. This is a census, not a census, but a military draft record, 1924, when her 18-year-old son went off to fight in the war or be in the war, whatever position they gave him and whatever duties they gave him. Remember that Hearn name? That Hearn last surname comes up on the census. Okay. And there's verification. So if I needed to verify her son, Frank Benford, with the E, because this name actually started off as Binford. Okay? To disattach the brown people or the brown children from the white or European forefather, they would change the letters in the names. So this surname is actually Binford. And a lot of the Benford children in Alabama were originally where the Benfords came from. Their name is protected because they had a white or European uh, ancestor who did that protection of them, even though he fought in the Confederate War. I'm not going to say right now who that is. All right. This is how you verify your documents. Uh, let's see, Howard obituary. You also use obituaries. I don't want to do that one. That one is too close, meaning the person passed away recently. All right, so these are her siblings. Get out of there really quick. All right, now I'm going to continue with the Berry Hill line. We went all through these for her mother, Maddie's mother. I mean, Letha's mother. We called her Ma Letha. Okay, that's her mother. This is her grandmother. I'm going to continue on this line. Now, hold on. Let me go back because I want you to see the ethnicity of Mike Russell. Now, Mike Russell, I have a DNA match, but when he found out that he had people of color, and I guarantee you that he no longer wants to be visible. Okay, this is the cons of genealogy, because some people don't want to be face the facts of what has happened when it came to mating, who they are, and who they're related to. This is real. This stuff is really, really deep. Okay, so there's a lot of people walking around lying. A lot of people walking around pretending, and that's just how it is. All right, so if he was born in 1864, we open up this 1880 census. It's saying he's black. I don't remember Russell being black, but there you have it. Verification. Spouse name is Sylvia Gaston. She actually was married to someone with the Gaston last name. And these are her children. Rick Raw with his mother. I don't know who she is. If I go into that, which I guarantee you she is, of course, either a African or a Mary Indian. Edmund Parlor. I had a lot of information for this. This is a European. I do notice a lot that information is often missing from the tree. Only people could do that is on the other end of the who stores it. I see that a lot. Right? This is my third great grandfather. So I'm going to continue on the Berry Hill line. Okay. Sylvia Betty Russell Gaston Webb. She was married to a Webb. This is the one whose husband Silas married her cousin. Don't quote me on that. One of them did. I'll find out who. And one of those Indian Bureau investigation, Silas Webb's name came up. All right. I just didn't point that out. All right. So we have her parents. Nancy is definitely a Muscogee Creek Indian. Silas, the Webbs are Indians. They all may verify as European today, but they're Indians. Okay. Now let's go into this document and these documents. 1840. That's not the right document. 1860. That is probably going to be attached to our mother and father. For clarification, 1870. You'll see her as 8 years old on this document. All right, gonna go out of there, continue. All right, let's look at this one. They have her listed as Mary in Utica Hines, Mississippi, white. Her father's name is Silas Webb, mother is Nancy Webb, and John Webb, siblings, and siblings. Pay attention to Henry S. Webb, which is Henry Stackhouse. I will show you more information and his application to the Muscogee Creek Nation and getting approved. Here's a Berry Hill here. Here's a Berry Hill here. Now remember, I just showed you Webbs and Lows and Gastons and Russells. Berry Hill's here. Here's a Berry Hill here. Here's a Webb here. All right, here's a Berry Hill here. Poke D. I will also show you his enrollment approval letters. Silas Webb here. Okay, this is how you verify information on these censuses. You look to see if their surname, who are these people? Are they connected? See that low? I think that's a low. They go low. The Berry Hills, Webbs, and Lows all made it with each other. There's Russell. You see it? One document that has all these names on it. Okay? They're all white. They're listed as white. This one right here was Indian. They changed this. You can see by the W. Okay? These are my ancestors, white, but they're actually Indian. Go out. This is how you prove ancestry. I'm going to go back here. This is only a small branch. I haven't even made it to the 14th. Let's know my other ancestors. All right. These are the Chillins. Let's see what's going on in here. 18, there, 19, 20, 30, Alabama, Ohio. Let's see what this is saying with this. Scipio Webb. Let's see the marriage license. All right, there's the marriage license for Mike Russell. And as you see, her name was Sylvia Gaston. I don't know why they did this. I don't like this. Let me just click on one, see how it looks. So this is where it bounced me to for the marriage license. To connect the Russells and the Gaston, which she was already married to a Gaston, and I'll show you that as well. All right, so she had a child by a Hester, a Lowe. She also had a child by a Gaston. She had children by a Russell, and she had more children by a Lowe. Maddie is actually a Russell, so she should be here. Those two should be combined. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that now. I'm gonna click it. I am going to merge with the duplicate. It didn't come up, so I'm going to type in the name. So for some reason it won't allow me to do it. I know that I probably tried this before. So what I will do is I'm going to go back one. I am going to just remove this one. I'm going to go to Marcus, go to edit relationships, and I'll just remove her as a child because that's not his child, her child. I mean, his child. All right. So simple as that. Now, when I go back, she's not going to be listed as a child of Marcus's, but she is still a Russell's child, a child of Russell. All right. That's how you correct your documents. You have to be very careful about deleting. I probably saw that and did not want to delete it because when I delete stuff, whether I'm tired, exhausted, sleepy, hungry, about to do something, get distracted by a phone, I try not to just up and delete stuff. I don't care what it is, especially with Ancestry. Right? So let's see what I have for the notes. There's only one hint here because I've been through all the hints. So I'm gonna go back into the facts. Now, with the mobile app, I'm able to do some totally different things. Like for instance, more hints come up for some reason. Don't ask me how or why, but it does. So besides just clicking on hints, there's something that says source or something like that. Not this one, but on the mobile app, there's more than one area to get hints that don't show up here. This hint is just something that's saying that this person is in someone else's tree. The Dowling or Dowling family tree. Do you want to look at it, see what's going on? Now, right there, Lorenzo Mason is another child that I've never seen before. Okay, that is of interest to me. So what I would do, and I don't want to do it now, is click on that person's tree, see what they got to say about Lorenzo Mason. I'm going to slide down here really quick, 1883, to see what child was born around that time, which is Lula. So that can't be her child. Quick, so that means that I'm not going into her tree to look and see. Now I can. Let's do so. So let's click on Mary Webb, and her name was also Mary Well as well. You see the posy is in her tree. The lows are in her tree as well. The berry hill is there. The web is there. This is how you verify stuff to make sure that your information is not off. Your information is something that you probably thinking you're right about something and it actually really isn't. When you see that person get all these names in their tree as well, you know that you're on to something. I've verified and clarified my census. I guarantee you my tree is used. I know that because people hit me up almost every day about my tree. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Lorenzo. It appears that he did not have any children. Let's say 17 years, 20, he was 82 when he passed away. There's more than likely some children, but they're not listed here. Whatever reason that person didn't continue with the tree, I don't know. I'm going to click that to see. Now, this is how you find more pictures. This is how you find more information. I go in and I look. That is an Indian. That's a berry hill. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click it. Let's see what they're talking about. The Deere, Indian last name. I'm going to get out of here. And they're in Oklahoma. All right. This is how you verify stuff. You get thrown off and say you listen to people talking about something. Ain't nobody. You're not an Indian. You're not Native American like us. You're not this. You're not that. Oh, baby. If you're really doing your genealogy, a person that's in deep into this, know that they don't have to argue with them. I do not do all that arguing with the people, the different pages on TikTok. If you go on and you look at the conversations that are going on there, the panels, they are interesting. They are a knowledge base. It is a place where you learn, one, how to stand up for your ancestors, how to stand up for your bloodline and lineage, how to stand up for whether if you are a native, or not native, but a aborigine indigenous descendant, how to put two and two together about what you probably already was thinking, what knowledge you already had about the genealogy research of a particular tribe or bloodline. Okay. So I'm going to continue into the Berry Hill. Now, Silas Webb, I also have a connection of his, and I actually think it's he that the person removed their name um, from the me being able to see our common ancestor, which means it's verified that Silas Webb is my fourth great grandfather. Now, if I go on to Family Tree DNA, all of his uh, descendants are on that app. All the webs are there. In 2017, I did not know anything about. I couldn't figure out why they were related to me at all. At all. And there was 10 and 12, 15, 20 of them. And now I know. All right, so as you can see, the webs and the Berry Hills. He's my fourth great grandfather. More documentation. I saw something. I'm going to take you into this. I don't know if it's still here or not. All right. This is a history archive that someone put up here. It actually says Dr. Mary Collins Landon did so. And this is her research about Utica Hinds County. And if you go here, it actually lists my ancestors' surname and ancestors. All right, that's the top of it. Hinds County, Mississippi, here. All right, so over here, go all the way to the left. We're going to scroll down. This is items that I found to connect and verify and approve what I've already know and found. Now remember the webs and the berry hill and the weeks. Let's add the weeks to that as well. All right. Berry hill, web, berry hill and weeks. Someone wrote, somebody recently asked who the parents were for Silas Webb. While I was looking for the Mitchell and Williams connection, I took time to look for Webb as well and can offer the following. It says Webb and it lists his family, who he married, his children. His second wife is Nancy Elizabeth Berryhill, which is my ancestor. Okay. This is how you verify information. All right. So I'm going to get out of here. Go ahead and delete that. Got to go back in and find a page. All right. So I'm going to go out of the Silas web page because I am still on the Berryhill. Now remember, Mary Coder, Roach Russell Posey is my second great grandmother. Nancy Elizabeth Berryhill is her grandmother. I found Nancy Elizabeth Berryhill first before finding my grandmother's grandmother and her grandmother, before finding Maddie and Bessie, respectively. All right. Nancy Elizabeth Berryhill was born in 1831 in Alabama. She left the earth in Hinds County or Hinds, Mississippi, which is currently Jackson, in 1917. She is my fourth great grandmother. I click this where you can see the degree of family relationships. All right. Okay. If I click, I will see only 2 hints. That M in the middle, I don't know if that's her or not. So I'm not going to click that and accept it. I'm not going to click ignore. I leave it there because I never know. And besides, her daughter, Sylvia, at one point did go to Ohio. So I don't want to delete this. This person says was born, her birth is in Ohio. I'm not going to delete that. I'm sure that there's something that would tell me that the birth is off. Excuse me. But Nancy Elizabeth was born in 1831. It's saying that this Elizabeth was born in 1831 in Ohio, even though I know that her family came from Alabama. I've already accepted 15 hints already. It is her grave site, which is at Find a Grave. I'm going to take you there so you can see how Find a Grave is such a very important part of my research. and how I was able to find information via the find a grave. All right, you will see um, death certificates. Henry Stackhouse Webb applied for enrollment in the Creek Nation and got it. Okay. So how do I end up with 80% African? The Webbs come up on the census. You see that FULGHM right here? It comes up on the census. Stackhouse on the census. Remember Charles Webb applied for enrollment? That was one of the first enrollment packets that I read. This is her child that applied for it. Stackhouse got it. I know he did. All right. Mary Webb, I'm believing is Sylvia. She had a lot of different names. I don't know what she was dealing with. All right. Let's get to some other stuff here. 2 hints are available. We went through that. I want to bounce to something really quick. Give me a second. I'm going to go to Amazon. I want to show you this book. All right, I'm ready to show you. What I just did, but I did it. All right, I have in possession this book. It is the Berry Hill Family History book. It is hardcover. It is in a very nice linen, and I own this book. When I received it, opened up the book, there my granny was on page 19. 5 of those pages, I'll say 8 of those pages were the preface. So to see her immediately in the book and Silas Webb immediately in the book, I am very, 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 very happy. All right. My ancestors are listed in this book. Let's read what it says. The book was put out. Actually, she put it on the market January 26th. So this is new. No. Okay. It says by Virginia T. Britton, published 1962, reprinted in 1982 as a hardcover. This book is primarily concerned with the descendants of William Berry Hill, born about 1780, possibly in Georgia, and died between 1861 and 1864 in Marion County, Alabama, and his wife Margaret Weeks. There's the Weeks, Weeks, born in Georgia about 1780 or 90 and died about 1845 or 46. in Marion County, Alabama, and their 18 children. I've already purchased the book. As you can see, it says you purchased this edition on April 16th, 2023. Another My History verified moment. All right. It's just ways of getting in and out and verifying your ancestors. I'm still waiting. All right, there we go. So I just took you in a book that I used to verify the Berry Hill family line. Even this year I did that, even though this line has already been verified. Okay. Circe will come up on the censuses as well. Excuse me. Now I'm going to take a turn here. As you can see, her father is William Bill Durgin Berryhill II, and her mom is Elizabeth Bessie Gage. There's a lot about Elizabeth Gage. I don't want to get into that right now. I have verified DNA matches there as well. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to follow the path of William. He's my 5th great grandfather. I will show you the degree of this. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where this African come in at. Where the 80% African? Because on my father's side, he's Chickasaw. All right. All right. He's born in 1811. What I do is attach a previous census from relatives to latch on so that anything prior to can lead someone to that person. To lead all right, to lead someone to that person. I don't know why the volume is down, but I'm going to turn it up some. So in 1820, if I look at that census, he's only what? 9 years old at this time. Let's see what's in here. The census begins to change. All right. By the race of the person, whether they are free or not, because white people were indentured slaves or indentured servants, and black people, quote unquote, black people, could have been deemed free or not. The ages are listed to the side, the category for it, and how many of that race and gender and age would be put to the right of there. How many people were in the house? A total of 7 people. Let's look at the document. This was not like this. I know how this document looked. I do not know what they're doing. Why are these documents looking like this? But I've been in all these documents. I ain't never seen that. I've never seen that before. Never seen that. Something's not right. Okay, I'm gonna keep on going. So we have 1810, 1820. Let's look and see what's going on in 1820. They're still in Georgia. Everyone is white and free. 7 total people. When I view the document, look like this one is torn up too. Doesn't make any sense, but this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing now. You got reparations and everything happening. Requests for all of that. All right, so 1840, 4 people. That means he had 3 children. The three children are not with them, or 3 people are not with him 10 years later. Go into here. Such neatly written. Don't know how true this is, but it looked colonial writing. So you're going to search for the Berry Hills, I believe. There's a Webb. There's a Berry Hill. There's a Benford. I'm related to all of them. There's more Berry Hills. And this is just a columns of free white people and then free colored people, because it looks like that's what they're calling 1840. And colored people would be the Indians or any free Africans that came over as well. Now, think about the colors and the shades of all of these indigenous, because indigenous people, quote unquote, black people, quote unquote, African Americans, come in different shades. There could be in between, out the color, dark, from light to dark, to brown, to caramel, to peach. Our skin colors range, and so did those inhabitants pre-colonial and post-colonial. All right, that's how 1840 census looks. 1840. Let's go into an 1860 census. 1860. William is 50, Nancy is 25. Let's see what we have here. They are still in Georgia. This is one of my favorite types of document. Remember, we're able to glide across, and it tells us with the little digital tabs. All right, so you see a Berry Hill here, Berry Hill family. There are more Berry Hills. This is my family, so I'm going to go into that in a second. And then there's more Berry Hills here. So we're going to go back up. They have it listed as white. This is digital. There is no markings on here. This is digital. Where were the markings before 1860? All right. Let's see what the occupations are. Farmer, domes, don't know what that means. Farmland, and domes. I guess that's home. William was born in Georgia. Nancy was born in Tennessee. Newton in Alabama, and the rest of the children were born in Alabama. So we're going to come out of that 1860 census. Let's go into an 1870 census. Now, the censuses begin to change. It gives you totally different information because they're trying to point out who the relatives are. They have him marked as the race as white. He's 60 years old, birthplace Georgia. It lists whether his occupation, which is a farmer. Can he read? Yes. Can he write? Yes. Male citizen over 21? Yes. Personal value estimate, personal estate value is $925. Real estate value is $1,200. His children are Nancy Berry Hill, William Berry Hill, Abram Berry Hill, Berry Hill, Nathan Berry Hill, Monroe Berry Hill, Margaret Berry Hill, Elijah Berry Hill, R. W. Berryhill, and Polk Berryhill. Polk, remember, will be granted his Muskogee Creek Nation enrollment. All right, gonna go ahead out of here. And go back into William Berryhill. Now we get into the Alabama censuses in the 1800s. William is on here. Let's look for the Berryhills quickly. There he is down here. He lists the number of people, children. Let's see what these categories are. White, 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 between the ages of. And that is how the 1850 census documented. Okay. Alabama's surname. This is the list of the Berryhill. This is Nancy's name before she married William Berryhill. And it explains how they were able to verify her surname. Okay, let's see. Mississippi Wills and Trust, probate. Let's see what the probate has to say. All of these are new records. I've never seen these before. Somebody got paid some good overtime to redo these documents. When they found out that Ancestry opened this up, they did a lot of work, a lot of work. This is very frustrating. This is the will. I've seen better wills than that. It's a good thing that I print screen. Now, a person can actually challenge them knowing that they print screened one thing, but they are changing the documents to show something else. He also was a Civil War veteran who fought with the Confederates. He was on the 1st Regiment and Creek Mounted Horses, Company F. His rank is private, rank out is private. There used to be documents, that's why I saved them. So they are now beginning to do some changes with the documents that they once had opened. All right, land records for William. I've seen this since 2017. 1854, he lived in Huntsville, Alabama. And this is the land that was allotted to him. And this is how the land registers and the patents looked originally, like a certificate. Actually, it is a certificate. Lists the date, 1820, that the land was given. And this land was granted to them after they were able to remove the Indians or the original Aborigines, those Yamasees, those Muskogee Creeks, the Choctaws, the Chickasaw. All of them were removed from the lands. That's how they were able to get these lands. They were promised grants for helping to remove, fighting the Aborigines, and then removing them from land. Now, find a grave, awesome way to verify names. Awesome way to verify names. All right, so you go here, and usually there's a story here. You can verify birth, death, burial. Check out the tombstone to verify things. Read the description, it gives you more information. You'll see children name. As you can see, his parents' name is, their names are here, and then his siblings and their marital names or any changes to it, and then you will see pictures. Then you go down here, his children are listed here. Again, Polk will come up with enrollment papers, I believe Peggy, Elvira, and a few other ones. Now, it depends on the pride of that particular Berry Hill where they were actually um, married or mated, and they did not go the route of filing, excuse me about the mic noise, filing for enrollment. Okay? We're dealing with race. We're dealing with their forefathers or their grandparents or fathers going to war to remove the Aborigines. Aborigines fought back. There was wars taking place for the land and for the removal of it. And some of the people within this tree or be on this line here, with this particular pedigree, many did not go the route of claiming their indigenous side. You have to think how they were thinking. A lot of people walking around with a lot of pride that their family member was a Confederate or owned slaves, when there's a lot of different stories going on within these families. Claiming European, being forced to claim European, being forced to fight a war that you might didn't want to be on either side, or one of the or the one or the other. I want you to conceptualize back then when you're doing ancestry and genealogy, because if you stay in a framed box and trying to figure this out, you're not going to be able to do so. You have to step outside of that into a whole nother realm and world. Okay, the times, the technology at the time, what was there, what was going on, wars, poverty, food, starvation, invasions, resistance, marrying of people that they didn't want you to marry, marrying and raping children, or raping children of, I'll edit that out. But mating with women and younger females. Okay, increasing your bloodline with races or ethnicities that you didn't come to America with. So a lot was going on around that time. All right. Find a Grave is an excellent source of finding out who your ancestors are, who their children are, the city and state. Now, here's another index of the land that was given out. This is how the land issuance look after they did the deeds of removal. You can either be granted land by the British, or you would buy the land or earn it. Remember that a lot of the British and Irish and other ethnicities left their countries for a better life here, and a lot of them were inmates or criminals serving time in other locations internationally, or were either brought here to help cultivate and work the land and or to help fight in the wars. But this stuff happened. Now look at this. You can see where it says somebody paid cash for theirs. So I guess they wrote how they received the land, if the person paid cash or if it was granted to him. Now look at this name here. Look at this. What's this name? WEBB, a web. Right here, Berry Hill. Go 2 plots down, you see another web. That Berry Hill bought more land here. William Berry Hill. Oh goodness, he bought land here, here, here. Okay, this is how the land was acquired. Okay, I'm gonna go out of here. This is painful to watch. This was once all Indian territory in Alabama alone for a how many what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 times 5, 100 plus acres there alone or more, or times that. Okay. So that was land ownership and plots. You were able to visually see that. The War of 1812. Remember, the War of 1812 is where Andrew Jackson comes in at, and he pressures the agents or the people that work for them to, one, do whatever they got to do to get the Indians, quote unquote Indians, off of the land. As you can see, and what is this, my fourth or fifth great grandfather, who is a Muskogee Creek native mixed with Irish blood, serving as a Confederate to help remove that land. Still haven't gotten to the who the Creek Indian is. I'll get there shortly. All right. So William Berryhill was a second registered mountain gunman. He fired the cannons in West Tennessee, which started off as a volunteer, it says. He was a private upon arrival, and his rank leaving at discharge was a private. Okay, 1812, very, very important date. This is when Andrew Jackson signed a lot of the treaties or the 1812 Removal Act. And so the wars began. Broken Arrow, Coweta Indians Creek. That page has been removed. Like I said, when there is information, not print screen, I just don't have it. When there is a lot of information that tells you, because so many people are doing their ancestry, and so many brown people are now claiming their indigenous side, because at one point they were hushed to claim it, another point they were tortured not to claim it, then they were written off via documents, and they know that this is what's going on right now, the discussion of reparations, the discussion of who the Israelites are, which is the North and South East Coast Aborigines, who the land was originally taken from, not Native Americans. That discussion is causing a lot of play with the documents. That's why a lot of people don't really care about this. They know who they are. All right. Document gone. Let's see this. U.S. citizen case files in Indian Territory. I think I read this one before. All right, I am going to begin reading this. This is a U.S. citizen case file for Indian Territory. It's the affidavit is coming from Mariah Quayaris. All right, I'm going to begin reading. That's how the document look at the top. She is applying for enrollment into the Creek Nation. And remember when I told you that some people, based on race and uh, their ability to identify with what, with the ethnicity that gave them the most power, the most money, the most prestige. And this is the perfect case to explain that. All right, comes now on this 11th day of February 1897, Mariah Corrales and makes oath to the following statements: that the record is produced and certified to by Sue M. Rogers as principal clerk of the Citizenship Commission of the Creek Nation does not show the testimony of Fayette Morel Corres that said Fayette testified before said commission, and that her evidence was taken down by the clerk of said commission at the time she testified, that she is one of the claimants for citizenship in the Creek Nation, and that she has a right to testify in her own behalf, and that in order that the records of said commission may be presented to the United States Court upon appeal in as true and correct condition as possible, she makes the following statements, which she swears is in substance her evidence before the Creek Citizenship Commission. My name is Mariah Querez, and I am one of the appellants in the case of Theodosia Berryhill, in other words, or ETAL versus Muskogee Creek Nation. I am a sister of Theodosia Berryhill and a daughter of Andrew Jackson Berryhill. Look at the name, Andrew Jackson, around the time that they were removing the indigenous from the land. And a daughter of Andrew Jackson Berryhill, who was a 1/4 Blood Creek Indian, and a son of John Dallas Berryhill, who was a half Blood Creek Indian and a son of John Berryhill, who was a white man and who married a full blood Creek Indian woman in the Old Creek County in Alabama. My father, Andrew Jackson Berryhill, was born in Alabama and came to this country with his father, John Dallas Berryhill, in the year 1828, when the second body of Creeks moved here under the leadership of McIntosh. This is what my father told me after coming to the present Creek Nation. They stayed here a while and then moved to Missouri, where my father married and where I was born. I did not come back to this country until in the year 1891 when I came here, and have been trying to obtain recognition by the Creek Nation ever since. My uncle G.W. Berryhill and 2 of my brothers and 7 of my other relatives came here in 1885 through 6 and made application for citizenship. And in the year 1890, the year before I came here, my uncle G.W. Berryhill and my 2 brothers, A.J. Berryhill and O.P. Berryhill, were admitted and placed on the roll of Broken Arrow Town, where they now are. Broken Arrow Town is where a huge Indian war took place. Broken Arrow is the tribe name uh, Broken Arrow, Coweta, not talking about Oklahoma. I am talking about Alabama. So I am a descendant of the Broken Arrow, Coweta, Georgia tribe of Berry Hill, Muskogee Creeks. Okay? And placed on the roll of Broken Arrow Town, where they well, they now are. Excuse me. As will be seen from the rolls of said town. The application of myself and my sister Theodosia were rejected, and we were not placed on the rolls with our brothers and uncles. The brothers and uncles and nieces and nephews and a lot of other ones are on that roll, and their descendants today are on that roll. When the Creeks received their old settler money, my grandfather, John Dallas Berryhill, left Missouri and came down to the Creek Nation and draw some money for himself and his children and grandchildren, 40 in number, as will be shown by the records at Washington. A copy of said record have been introduced by us before this commission. I, Mariah Corrales, do solemnly swear that I have heard the above and foregoing statements read, and that they are true and are in substance the same as the testimony given in by me before the Creek Citizenship Commission in the summer of 1896. I further swear that the records of the Creek Commission as certified to by Sue M. Rogers is false insofar as it is claimed to be complete. For in said record, my evidence does not appear. I testify before said commission. She signs her name, subscribed and sworn to before me this 11th day of February 1897, and it is notarized. The affidavit begins. The affidavit of A.J. Berryhill, which is in my tree. If I go and click off and show you Polk and A.J. and G.W., they're in my tree. Come down, this is the 11th day of February 1897, A.J. Berryhill, and makes oath to the following statement: that the testimony is produced and certified to by Sue M. Rogers as principal clerk of the Citizenship Commission of the Creek Nation is not the evidence as given in by me before said commission, and that the following statements are in substance what was testified to by me before said commission. My name is A.J. Berryhill, and Theodosia Berryhill and Mariah Quarez are my sisters. I am a recognized citizen of the Creek Nation and on the rolls of citizenship of said nation. I have been a recognized citizen by blood for over 10 years. My father's name was Andrew Jackson Berryhill, and he was a one-quarter blood Creek Indian and a son of John Dallas Berryhill, who was a half-blood Creek Indian, said John Dallas Berryhill. Here's Polk here. Polk Hill, Dallas Hill, is my fourth great uncle. Here is the degree of relationship. His approved census records for the Dawes records. Creek Nation. I haven't even showed you the chiefs that are in my family. I haven't even showed you the Powhatan tribe, Pocahontas's sister's descendants, or the Tuscarora tribe, or the Lumbee tribe. that I'm related to, all warriors in the fight to keep their land. So when people start saying who people are, I haven't even showed all of my tree. I haven't even showed all of my tree. I haven't showed my tree. So I will pick up on the genealogy tour of medical records. Medical records on another date. All right. Today we were able to see my maternal side of my family tree. Partial of it. I haven't even went back 14 years. My paternal grandmother, or actually my maternal grandmother, is in fact a Muscogee Creek Coweta tribe descendant. I will continue and pick up on this tree on another episode. I hope that you were able to be encouraged to start or continue your genealogy journey by touring with me and my ancestry and genealogy research of my family. Thank you for joining me. Please set your notifications to join me for my next virtual tour.